Okay, so I started my career in the restaurant business as a 16-year-old busboy. I grew up in Michigan. I got a job as a busboy in a restaurant, and I didn't know it at the time, but that was very formative. I mean, I loved that job. I knew I liked it at the time, but look now as an adult, looking back as a teenager, I I mean, I really loved that job. I loved how I was treated like an adult. I loved working at night. I loved the hustle. I loved always being busy and running around. Um, and of course, I loved the money. You know, they had these little envelopes. Where your tips would get wrapped up. You'd pick them up at the end of the day or end of the week. And as a 16-year-old, you know, it adds up pretty quick living at home. So, you know, as I went through my life, I kind of always had a restaurant job. I was a athlete for a while, as a cyclist. I went to college, but I always had a restaurant gig. And I eventually moved to LA and really kind of cut my teeth in the hospitality, restaurant, nightlife business in Los Angeles. I worked for great people there. And, you know, I for a long time, I thought of the restaurant thing as a side hustle, or as it was like kind of my nighttime job. But as I got older, I realized, shoot, I'm not doing anything else. I guess this is my career, you know? So, and I still loved it. And I still love it to this day. But I really kind of doubled down and focused more on my career and grew and just started learning as much as I possibly could about the restaurant business. Fast forward to about 6-7 years ago, and I ended up moving to Prescott, Arizona. Mountain town, northern Arizona. Moved here for a lot of different reasons, but it ended up providing a lot of opportunities to me. So I'd always wanted my own place. I knew that's what was the eventual end game for me. I wanted my own restaurant, my own bar. And 6 years ago, in 2015, I opened my first restaurant called the Barley Hound. So the Barley Hound was new and new vibe for Prescott, Arizona, and it right away just took off. I was the happiest person in the world. I mean, I loved being there. I was there from the first thing in the morning till last at night. I was there every second that I could. I absolutely loved it. It was a total dream come true. And then sure enough, I was just focusing on that business, reinvesting all my money into it, you know, taking as little as possible out of it. And that was what I learned, is to hustle, to keep working hard. And so I did that. And sure enough, it afforded me another opportunity to purchase a restaurant that I loved called Rosa's Pizzeria. And then that started going really well. I purchased another restaurant, started construction on another restaurant. So I bought another great restaurant that I really loved. And then I started construction on a new restaurant that was my biggest project to date. And I felt like I was a chess player sitting in front of a chessboard, and all of the years and years and years of work had brought me to this moment. And I had the next 5, 6, 7 moves planned out. Against my competitors, against the marketplace. I had everything planned. I had the money planned out. I had the everything planned. And then March of 2020 comes along, right? So COVID hits. I'll never forget the day, because it was March 15th of 2020. It's my daughter's birthday. We were supposed to be at a concert. She was turning 8 years old. And the concert was one of the first things that got canceled. I think it got canceled 2 days before. And I kind of got the sense like, oh man, this is happening. And so I remember that day is when people started calling me, and, you know, it became apparent that we were going to have to close down.
I had planned on every move from there on out, and you know, but there was no plan for zero revenue, right? I could adjust for weather. I could adjust for different employees leaving. I could adjust for almost anything. But closing or closing off revenue is no plan. There was no plan for that, right? You know, I have loans, I have leases, I had 70, 80 employees at the time who all depended on me to sign their paychecks. And so, I mean, this was like absolutely devastating. I definitely cried myself to sleep for a few times there, or didn't sleep at all. I mean, it was like, to sit there and just feel like the weight of the world is coming down upon you. And in the beginning, there was no talk of PPP. There was no talk of rent forgiveness or any of this other stuff. So it was, to say it was stressful is an understatement. And then I realized as a week, 2 weeks go by, and I realized this is going to go on for a while. I realized that this is going to be the single biggest moment of opportunity in my career. I'm still energetic. I'm young enough to where I want to work. I still love this business every day. I knew this was going to be very, very hard for a lot of people. And I knew if I could just stick it out, that there's going to be, a pot of gold at the end of this COVID situation. So then that's March, April, then COVID really kicks in, right? There's where we had to close down and to go only, and had to lay a bunch of people off, but then bring some of them back on, and we're going to open back up, but then they changed it. I mean, we all went through that. I mean, I could go through all of those details, but I think everyone in the country, and now, the world really went through those indoor dining, outdoor dining, all these different recommendations. So by about halfway through the summer 2020, things had kind of stabilized, and everyone was talking about outdoor dining. Rosa's Pizzeria, which is our biggest and busiest restaurant, it had a tiny little patio, but not much. And we were restricted to 50%, I think just less than 50% of occupancy, which just doesn't pay the bills. It's like having a car with 2 tires. It doesn't work. It doesn't. You can maybe get it to go along for a while, but eventually it's not going to work, And so I remember a partner of mine, Steven, he sent me a picture of a restaurant that we had gone to in the past, and it was just a picnic table and a tree in a pot next to the picnic table. And I was like, that's it. That's what I'm doing. Rosa sits right on Gurley Street in Prescott, Arizona. There's diagonal parking right in front of it. And I was like, we're going to build a big patio, and this is going to be the savior. I think that was on a Sunday. On a Monday, I got on the phone with the city, fire department, police department, public works, state liquor board, got everything done within a week, had everything ready to go. By that Sunday, we had a truckload of wood dropped off, and me, my general manager, Danny, several other servers, and Rob, Kyle, people came in to help out. We are not professional builders, but it was just a testament to everyone doing whatever it took to get it done, right? It was just, if we could get through these obstacles, we knew that it was going to pay off. So we're there drilling and putting the deck together. Again, I always joke that we had 3 drills and 4 batteries, and the batteries just kept overheating and weren't working. But we got that thing built, and everyone was excited about it. So I thought. So I'm like, great, this is it. I feel like this is kind of the last big obstacle, that COVID's going to throw at us, And then people started complaining about this deck that we built. Other business owners, some of the residents didn't like the way it looked, or were complaining about losing 2 or 3 parking spaces. Now, I try to be respectful of other people's opinions and other people's point of view, but at the time, I'm just thinking, I'm on the verge of losing everything I've worked for. I don't know how long this COVID's going to go for, and this outdoor dining seems to be, this is the ticket. I've got the loan payments, leases, rents due, employee paychecks, and these guys are complaining about parking spots. It's like I was just floored. But again, I think once that complaining started, one of those nights, Danny, one of my main guys who really helped me get through all of this, he sent me the song "I Won't Back Down" by Tom Petty, and it just kind of reminded me what I thought in the beginning. I was like, man, if this is a big moment of opportunity, we just got to keep going through it. I felt like I was like a prize fighter, and and I was told, if you can just make it 12 rounds with Mike Tyson, you'll win the fight. You're going to get hit in the face a million times, and you might almost die. But if you make it to the end, you're going to be declared the victor. And so these complaints about the little deck that we built was one more bump in the road that we figured out how to get past. We figured out how to talk to them. We figured out how to make the permit last a little bit longer to get through it. And, I just, that's kind of when I thought, like, man, nothing shocks me anymore. And go ahead, bring me another obstacle, bring me something else to overcome. And me and my team will figure it out. I remember it was around that point where my mom, I was telling her about this whole story, and she just said, boy, Skyler, you know, if you can get through this, you know, nothing is going to stop you. And I think she was right.